The problem with the research career is it's so much like entrepreneurship where you're left with your own demise. Um, it's it's if you are whatever your sort of natural tendencies are, whether it's because of your personality, how often because of your personality or how you grew up or your genetics, it just propagates so much because it's just you have tremendous amounts of autonomy, and that you sort of choose what you want to do, just like in entrepreneurship. And it's challenging. This is like, I think one of the central things is what makes it so difficult is regulating that. Uh, and so if you're a high stress, high anxious person, which I think is a huge number of people that become successful in the research career, is like literally everybody, um, except for a few people, I would say, that they internalize things so much. And the reason why they become highly successful, right? Because they're extraordinarily anxious, um, and they can get things done. And they just have this tremendous amount of like, the world's going to fall apart if they don't accomplish something. Um, and, you know, on the flip side, there is the people that are just so relaxed that they just don't care and nothing ever gets done. And, the challenging thing is that you have to balance that and you have to regulate it in your head in terms of how to actually do this. Don't, I probably don't do a good amount of anyone. I default to um, more on the chill side than a lot of people. But at the same time, I feel those stressors a lot. And I feel all of that anxiety a lot, but there's not much I can actually do to change that. So over the years, I've had to regulate that. Um, and in my family, I tend to be, um, so between me and my wife, I tend to be the more chill person. And, I think which is probably actually pretty normal when it comes to, male and female couples. Um, but, but at the same time, it sort of gets me to, there's only, so the reason why, I learned this is actually during my engineering degree, that I just had to learn how to take one step at a time, even though that it was very daunting and stressful and I couldn't change anything. So I just had to take one step at a time. You learn this within an engineering degree. You can't panic because nothing happens. It's just one little step. And as one more step, that's all you can do. If you panic, it actually becomes worse, right? So if you let that anxiety come in, you actually can't solve anything. You can't do anything. And so you gotta take a step back. But all of these are being left to your own demises is what actually eats you up the most, right? So if you're a high anxious person, a high anxiety, and I think my wife would probably agree. She wouldn't really like the career because it would eat her up so much, and we'd probably end up being in a divorce, because of that. Because it's like it's all it's all inclusive when you do something and it's only you, then you are the one that's actually driving it. And then you can drive yourself into like just into the ground and it becomes very difficult. But on the other side, um, if you're too chill, nothing ever gets done. Right. Like it just you kind of just like whatevs. And you're like, what the heck are you doing? Right. So all of these things, it's really being left to your own demises. And then for me, one thing that's really painful for me because of early high school experiences, I get a sense of loneliness. very quickly, I think, compared to I actually don't think I'm pretty normal with this, but the career is extraordinarily lonely. I'm by myself a lot, and I tend to be more clingy, because I grew up in a very, sort of attachment-based family. We weren't like, lovey like, huggy and all that kinda stuff, but we were always together, so having a lot of family support was really it's important, like it or not. Um, so what I'm saying is that because this is so often very independent, whatever your crutch is, it often will become the thing that will be the most detrimental for you. So, one of the things I laugh about on this channel is I openly talk about things. And what I've realized is that the people that probably need it the most will never listen to any of this. That's not who they are. Um, B, if they do listen to any of these things when I openly talk about this, they will probably listen to the first 5 seconds and be extraordinarily upset, and I will get in trouble because of it. Um, like, almost all of that, and then they'll just kinda, like, detach, and this is often the fundamental problem with sort of more on the, um, social media side is that these engagement rates so this is a little bit of a digress, but great engagement rates really are about the first, 1 to 3 seconds, and then people flick off and they go do something else. So, what that creates is people will never listen to what you're actually doing and what you're saying, and you just gotta get used to that, and the people that are most likely to benefit are the ones that are most likely to get upset with you because of the things that you're actually saying. And it's the same thing within the academic career. You gotta realize it's just people being people. And when people be people, the people that can actually benefit the most from sort of deep, thoughtful thinking, they will never do it. They will do the quick wins. It will kind of end it, and they will be highly successful, right? Like they'll go and do those things and will make them very, very successful because they're not focused on deep thought or anything like that. Um, and they're always kinda going from one thing to the next because that's how they become successful, right? Is not really spending that much time thinking about things. So, long story short is often this creates dynamics, right? That is the demise of you, where it's very difficult for you to do anything in the academic profession because whatever your weakness is, it's going to be the thing that's going to eat at you the most. It's going to be the hardest thing to manage. And I guarantee it. And it's very much like entrepreneurship. If you look at what and why things fall apart, it's almost always just, it's interpersonal dynamics. It's about your own psychology and those kind of things. And those things will just destroy any entrepreneurial endeavor, regardless of whether it's outside of academia or within. All right, take care. Have a wonderful day.